it overnight. What up, Facebook Live and YouTube when I upload it there? Um, Public service announcement. It looks like Facebook has changed their live setup. Alright, today I'm interviewing one of the homegirls, Rask23. I was trying to think of like when we met. I know it was at Caddy's shop. It must have been like a year or two ago.
Yeah, I want to say a little over a year.
Either way, super dope artist. Really good at characters. Her color schemes are hella fresh, super dope. You've collabed on a few things, and more to come. So, Rask, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Alright, I'm Rask23. I'm a self-taught artist, mixed media, and graffiti. Living in Southern Oregon right now. Been doing this most of my life, but really just focusing on aerosol in like the last 7 or 8 years. I feel like I'm getting to a place where I'm happy with what I'm doing now.
Tight.
Yeah.
Alright, who are some of your inspirations coming up?
Well, growing up, I was alone a lot in the house or anything, and so I was just kind of doing it on my own, and then my mom actually introduced me to Tank Girl when I was about 11, and I don't know if you're familiar with the creators of Tank Girl, but it's like this comic book done by Jamie Hewlett, the guy who illustrates for Gorillaz, which is what he's mostly known for.
That's
and
right.
Once I started seeing the way he was making characters and people, like I just couldn't get enough of it, and so that's what I focused on. Drawing was people, and I like customizing them and making them individuals, like as a way to, I don't know, kind of make sense of the shit out here in the world. I've never got along with people too great, and so it kind of is a way for me to cope with them by being able to draw them, and I don't know, he was just a huge source of creative inspiration for me. And not even comic books in general, but in particular this artist, and like illustrators and painters like Egon Sheila. He just makes the craziest looking people, and it just sparked something in me. I wanted to keep drawing and keep making it, and I think that was big for me, was discovering those two artists.
Nice. Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
And you kind of describe your style as like you just said, like character based.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never really gotten along with letters too well because I don't I don't speak too great with people. I love to read, but I'm not a big conversationalist, and so graffiti letters are always something that I've really enjoyed seeing, but it's not something that I've ever felt super comfortable doing. But when I'm painting characters, like I feel like I can just go wild with it, and it doesn't really ever go wrong.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. That's dope to know. I wasn't sure like how you started, whether it was with letters or characters. So that's dope. What made you decide to write Rask or go by Rask? Where's that story from?
Well, Rask is like kind of a combo of my first and middle name, and I grew up in like a single parent household, just my mom, and so like my last name was my dad's last name, but I didn't know the guy at all, and so I've never really been too attached to the last name at all. So I kind of wanted to make something for myself because I didn't really enjoy the idea of having all these names given to me by people I don't know.
Yeah.
And that don't know me.
Definitely.
And so I think that was the reason why I chose that, because it's kind of close to what my mom gave me, but it's got more of my flavor in it.
Okay. Where'd the 23 come from?
23, that's Take Girl All the Way, and that's something that I saw in Jamie's art over and over again, and it really resonated with me. And then it's just seeing 23s everywhere, like it's in my license number, it's in my social security number, it's in all these important dates and places. I find that number, and so it seems kind of like a little tie to the universe. I've never been super spiritual person, but I'm kind of finding that part, and that 23 seems to hold me down.
Very cool, very cool.
And it sounds kind of silly and woo-woo, but I don't know, it keeps me comfy. It means something to me.
Tight, tight. He was a Jordan of the character game anyway, at least.
The what?
The Jordan.
The Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, no, I know Michael Jordan. I know that's his number. That wasn't why, though. I'm not good at sports.
Cool. Yeah, I was curious about that. All right. Let's see. What question to choose next? What's the best advice someone has ever gave you? Coming up through the art situation.
Well, I mean, to not compromise my style and my integrity for nothing. Like that's been huge for me in art in general and in life. I mean, if you start compromising the person that you are and what you enjoy doing in order to please other people, then what the fuck are you doing anything for? And so, you know, with the character stuff, I was getting a lot of pressure from some other writers around here about, you know, doing letters more. And I'm like, you know, I thought about it and I tried it out, and the shoe didn't fit for me. And so I was the most unhappy with my art when I was trying to do art that was for other people.
Sure.
And so since I've kind of stepped back from that and said, fuck you, I'm going to do what makes me happy, I've been getting so much further. Been doing tons of murals and, you know, making part of a living at least.
Yeah, right.
What I've been training myself to do. And so I think that's the advice I'd have to give to anybody starting up, is just find what makes you happy about what you're making. And because that's your coping mechanism for the world, and that's the way you celebrate the good things that are happening in your life. So don't make that shit for somebody else.
No doubt. No doubt. That's a good one. Where do you envision your art taking you? Or where would you like to bring it?
I would like to travel more and paint in other cities and, you know, other countries. Like, I've never been outside of the U.S. And so I want to take my art with me and hopefully collaborate with a bunch of people from, you know, different cultures, different backgrounds, different everything, so that we can all kind of come together and find the shit that we have in common, especially when stuff is so divisive right now. Like, I think that art, if you let it, can be one of those forces that joins people together and, you know, shows our humanity still, that we're real people out here with real struggles. And if we don't, I don't know, if we stop making art, what are we alive for? Like, there's not. So I hope that takes me further with people, and maybe I can, I don't know, get some more perspective, some fresh perspective on life.
Have you ever looked at like the graph mural shows and shit that they throw? Or even,
I would like to attend some of those too. I had an invitation to Art Basel a couple years ago, but I just couldn't swing it with the kid, and money was tight. But I want to be able to go to stuff like that, because I can meet people places like that I'll never run into here in Medford. Like, car alarm is going off. Sorry.
It's cool. I'm sure mine's gonna go off again too sometime. That's another thing I was gonna say is you know, whenever you have a chance, or even bring the kid, you know, go take a trip to LA. You know, go to Venice and hang out and do some art. You'll definitely link up with some people down there. Always keep shows in mind. You know, keep doing murals and all that, and definitely build the resume. But traveling, definitely.
Oh yeah. No, I've gotten to go to the Bay a couple times to do some work down there, and networked pretty good with some people, and it was just a great experience to be able to be somewhere unfamiliar, but that still kind of felt like home. Yeah,
because you're all speaking the same language, and I think that's helpful when out of town.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. What are the mediums that you use and equipment that you favor?
Well, I came up on just drawing and doing a lot of illustrating, just pens and pencils or whatever I really had at my disposal. I don't know how many portraits I've drawn with like crayons and shit, just whatever I had around. But these days, I've been using a lot of acrylics and you know, the Molotov paint markers and shit, and lots and lots of aerosol. Mostly Iron Lac because it's cheap, not because I like it. But
really? Okay.
That Molotov Premium is my favorite paint.
Okay.
And
nice.
Yeah.
You like belting?
Aerosol has made my life so much better as far as
that's
what I'm doing with my art, because it's such a quick medium. That was what kept me away from, because I didn't start really painting until I was like 18 or 19, it took too long, and I wanted to see what I was seeing in my head on paper, like, quickly, so that's why I was always illustrating. And so now I've kind of got that medium that's perfect for me, because it doesn't take too long, but I can layer and layer and get all these colors and all this blending and still have it, like, appear before my eyes within a reasonable amount of time. But I've been interested in trying to get into oils, but that shit takes a long time.
Yeah, that's patience.
I don't know if I'm patient enough yet, but
that
I want to try it.
I like oils on larger canvases and acrylics on smaller canvases. That's kind of what I've realized.
Yeah.
Because, if you're working on like a big canvas, you will be working. If you're working on a large canvas, your acrylics will dry like too fast. You know what I'm saying? So every time I do anything larger than 9x11, I go to oils. That's my little tip. But, doing mixed media is good too. Layering oils on top of acrylics. So when you take that leap,
check that out.
When you take that leap, it is a lot of fun though. Blending is just super fucking easy. Just figuring out highlights is really fucking easy, and shadows and all that.
Well, I want to kind of get like a clear tone to stuff too. Like, say you paint a couple layers, let those dry, and then go over it with like a tinted clear or something, just to give it that extra little highlight. I feel like that's a lot harder to do with acrylics. I mean, like, I use a retarder and to keep it, like, diluted and stay wet for a while, but it's like, it's still not that same effect.
Right. Clear tar gel.
Yeah, retarder. It's this weird jelly stuff.
Yeah.
In your acrylics.
And it's funny because, like, when it dries, it is like, it makes me think of like a marble almost. Like, obviously marbles are glass, but it's like if you were to able to like make this a sphere, it could be like a little marble.
Yeah.
Acrylics. Strange chemicals. You like Belton, right?
Yeah.
What makes you what hypes you about Belton? You're one of the few that I hear mention that.
Those cans just last a long time. Like, I can get almost all the damn paint out of them, whereas, like, with shit like Iron Like, it just clogs up really bad. And you'll have, like, a half a can and the fucking nozzle's all jacked up, and I don't want to sit there and poke at it with a sewing needle to try to get it to spray again.
Right.
And it, like, the color lasts a long time out in the sun. I don't have any problem. Like, when I painted my car, all the spots that I used the Belton paint, like, they didn't fade out all weird, and all the spots with the Iron Lac, it was just, like, the purples are starting to kind of turn brown, and it doesn't keep that vibrant color the way that Belton seems to. I mean, and Montana does okay too, but I just can't pay $10 a can. I'm going through it too fast, so Belton's like right in between the two prices. You can get them big packs of it for pretty reasonably cheap on Bombing Science, and so that's just what I've been doing for the last couple
diamond
years.
Packs. I haven't used Belton in years. So I'm definitely gonna have to try that out.
It sprays nice, and it gets along with all the caps I got.
Nice.
Doesn't clunk up on me and get all gross.
Nice. Very good tip. Very good tip for everybody out there listening and taking notes. Greatest memory you've experienced in the game?
Oh, I don't know. I've had a lot of good ones. Honestly, painting Caddy Shop with you and painting over there in general has been fucking great. Like, I haven't met anybody like her that was as down for what I'm trying to do, and not, she's never really asked me to, like, do something specific for her. She just gives me the space to be able to make whatever I feel like I want to make, and that's been amazing.
Right.
Like, that kind of support and stuff is just not something you find in a lot of places, especially here. And then a couple years back, I went down to the Bay to go visit my homie, and we were doing a mural at this warehouse for this, like, recording company, and that was super fun. Like, we painted Hail Sagan with these, like, big drippy goosebumps letters and stuff, and had, like,
dope.
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, like an evil Mickey Mouse, and Carl Sagan was, like, ripped out Mickey's heart and was holding it in his hand, and it was, like, bloody. It was just crazy.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And it was just really nice to just spend some time in San Francisco, and just all the art there just made me want to make even more and more. And so as soon as I got back from there, that's when I really started focusing on graffiti. And it's been real good so far to me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, Caddy's dope. Last time we were talking about art, I was taking like notes, and she wants me to do paintings for her, and I'm like, you're gonna have to tell me more specifically, because if not, I'm just gonna do something wrong. But yeah, definitely a very positive person to in this whole art adventure. I want to do a live interview with Caddy. I think that'd be hella tight. I think we'd have to do 2 different interviews though, one on cars and one on art. So
yeah, no, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that is my mission.
We should do it at her shop though, so that we can.
Oh yeah.
Record the shop and everything.
No, that's what I was thinking. I'd like walk around showing the cars and all that.
Mhm. All
right. What is one of the worst experiences you've encountered in the game?
I think about it a lot, but it's this like pissy attitude that graffiti writers get about people not doing it right. Like you don't hit enough trains, you're not really a writer, or you don't, do a bunch of throwies all the time, you're not really a writer. Like that attitude, the same thing with the tattoo industry too. I hung around those people a lot, and like there's some real good folks out there, don't get me wrong, but that tattitude and that graffiti attitude shit, fuck that. Like that goes back to not compromising yourself for anybody. And so when I catch that vibe from people in graffiti, I'm like, this isn't just some exclusive club.
Right.
Like,
for sure.
Of really cool people, and you can't be a part of it. Like, I hate that shit. In any kind of, I don't know, subculture. And I get that there's rules, and I respect those. People before me came up doing this and had a lot more to lose in some cases than I do doing what I'm doing right now, and I respect that. But there comes a point where, you get too full of yourself, and you're damaging the art. You're damaging the culture that way.
Right.
And so I really don't appreciate that super you got to do it my way or fuck off kind of attitude.
Right. Yeah, it's
because I don't think that art should be that way in general. Like, it just doesn't seem like you're doing anybody any favors by restricting people that way, because this is the one thing that people who are artists are supposed to be able to do to kind of get out from under that oppressive thumb that society has over us.
Exactly.
And so when you carry that over into that place that makes you feel good, it stops feeling good, and then you start doing it for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
I don't beef with people who get, commercial success from their graffiti, but like, at the same time, like, I don't know, I think that's what those writers are so afraid of, is that graffiti will be so commercialized that they won't be able to see real art anymore, but that attitude is what's pushing people towards that.
Right.
In a lot of ways, I think.
Right.
And so if you just let people do them, and remind them about, how shit was back in, the 70s, people painting freight and subway cars and stuff, and why they were doing it, keep that in mind. But, like, don't smash into people and expect them to conform. You're not going to get anything good out of it.
Right. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, I see that. I see that happening a lot,
Yeah. And maybe it's, I don't know, mostly with men, maybe that's just how men communicate with each other, but I don't really buy that. And I don't know, being a woman doing this too has been both a blessing and a curse, because it's like I get a lot of respect that I don't know that I've always earned through my art. Like, I think that sometimes they just give it to me just because I'm a female doing this and I'm decent at it, but I want to earn that respect because I'm good at what I do, not because of who I am doing it.
Right.
And then at the same time, I get people who will brush me off because they're like, this girls only do this shit because they see dudes doing it or something, and that's silly. That's middle school shit. And so, not interested in any of that.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, being, like I said, I definitely hear that shit, knowing a lot of bombers and just kind of their attitude towards the other side, I mean, I'm an artist too, you know what I'm saying? So I hear the whole fucking thing, and it's pretty upsetting. Last time I heard some shit, I was just like, yeah, I highly disagree, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, aren't we all artists? I mean, I guess there's people that just go, and I can dig that or whatever, but I don't feel like that has to be mutually exclusive to art. Like, you don't have to keep the two separate. You don't have to, I don't know, just it's more division that I don't think that people need.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's a lot to go in on there, but absolutely agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's see, just flying through these. What are some projects you're working on or next things you have scheduled?
I've been painting my house. I did 2 more pieces on it after we did the one together. And so I'm going to try to keep going on that. I got to build that fence in the backyard, so I've got that big free wall. And then I know I've got, it's not really scheduled yet, but I did a mural over at the that car shop, LA Automotive. You were there that one time, and so he wants me to do some more work over there for him.
Nice.
So I got to schedule that in. I've got some stuff hanging at a vape shop here in Medford, at Vape Guys, and did that mural over there just like 2 months ago, I think.
Nice.
And so I'm going to wrap around the wall again.
Okay.
But they're like making their e-liquid stuff in there, so I got to figure out how to like tape it all off so nothing gets contaminated and, you know, aerosol is all stinky.
Okay.
But, yeah, I'm just kind of looking for some more collabs. I know you got that canvas, or 2 canvases, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I have one, and I should start another one. What are you pointing to?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I'll grab it from Ashlyn. I think I'll be going in. Yeah, we'll figure that out. I'll bring that through. Yeah, collabs. People fucking love that background. So, and I'm like, yeah, there's going to be characters on it very soon, so stoked.
We're going to do another big wall, too.
Yeah.
A big one.
I was telling Caddy we should redo that fucking wall at the shop. I want to do, see, I was telling Caddy, like, I really want to do huge letters. Like, big ass, like, only fucking bucket paint. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like there's a way to treat it like a fucking huge canvas. So, one of my goals in the future is to do just massive fucking wall. But painting the shop is fucking tight, so I think we're talking about that, and as soon as that comes up, you will be getting a call.
Oh, good.
Sweet. Alright, and I know you mentioned something earlier, but words of wisdom for the next generation is the next question.
Words and wisdom for the next generation?
Yeah.
You know, I guess just, you know, be kind to people. Give people a chance. You know, they might surprise you. And don't be so hard on yourselves and on others that you don't have room to grow. And that could go for anything from art to life, relationships, whatever it is. Like, you got to give yourself space and other people space to make good decisions for themselves. And, you know, I think if we gave people a shot more of the time, you know, we could maybe get through some of the shit that this country's going through and that people on an individual basis are going through, because we're all more alike than we are different. And I really believe that. And so I think it's important to just not shut yourself off. I did that for a real long time, and I think my art suffered for it. You know, I feel like I might be in a more creative and open place as an artist if I had allowed myself to get closer to people or to allow them to be closer to me in whatever kinds of situations that I was in. And, you know, it's not just my art that suffered for it, but it was me as a person too. And I'm still, you know, putting that all back together. And so, you know, something that I tell my son, he's 7, and, you know, he'll have a hard time at school or something, and say somebody wasn't getting along with them too great. And I'm like, you know, just don't hold a grudge, like, give it another shot, and just be you. And if they don't like you for who you are, then at least they're not going to love you for somebody you're not.
Right.
And I think that's worse than than being yourself and being rejected.
Right.
And because there will always be other people out there who are gonna take care of you the way that you should be, and it will give you a chance to be the person you're supposed to be. And so I definitely think that we should learn from our past, but not just keep it so close that it's stopping us from moving forward.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's hella real, you know. there's a lot of fake fucking attitudes out there, and especially like I said, you know, in the art game, you know. So
yeah.
And another public service announcement: Rask is one of the nicest people on the planet. So just wanted to throw that there.
I don't know about that, but yeah, am I too nice still?
You're too goddamn nice. No, it's tight though. Hella positive. All right, that's a tight one. That was well explained. Other than an artist, what are some other things that you're into?
Oh man, art is so much of my life that I'm not really sure. I love camping and traveling, and you know, I like gardening, even though I'm not very good at it. You know, I want to learn some more about music because I love listening to music and discovering new and old music. And it speaks to me on a spiritual level there. And so I want to expand that a little bit. I've been fiddling around with this guitar over here now and then, and maybe try to expand more into music.
Nice.
Like, I was tripping about this interview because I don't like the way my voice sounds on tape. But I'm getting over it, and so I want to make some shit. I don't know what it's going to look like or sound like yet, but I want to move in that direction.
I'm going to put a high-pitched squeal on some parts and a very low tone cover up on the other parts. Yeah. No, it's good. You're chilling. The next thing I have to say is anything else you'd like to raise awareness on or rant about or questions for the listeners. That was something else I put on there.
I don't know. I'd like to... I'm sure you probably have mostly chill listeners, but I'm curious to see if anybody listening to this has any, like, what their opinions are about graffiti art and street art in general. Like, I've heard a lot of people say they really like it when it's on, like, legal walls, but, like, what about illegal graffiti, and how do you feel about it as a member of society or as an artist or maybe somebody who does illegal street art? Like, I don't know, that's always something I've really, really enjoyed about graffiti is that it's everywhere, and it's not in places that it's okay for it to be, and that's what makes it fucking amazing, because people are in places where they're not okay to be all the time, and you know, whether that's by choice or not, and I don't know, I'm just curious to see how people feel about it, and if they think that it's beneficial to society to have that kind of unapologetic art in their face or not. And this could maybe include or exclude gang graffiti. I don't know how people feel about it. I'm kind of neutral, personally.
Right. Well, that's a whole nother topic, you know.
That's something kind of I had a hard time, like, when I was working for Life Art as a volunteer mentor for kids at risk of suicide, and that was really how I stepped into using spray paint a lot. So my sister died in 2010, and she committed suicide, and there wasn't anywhere for me to take that. Like, there wasn't anywhere for me to go with that, and I was drawing and painting a lot, but it was still, you know, it was really in there, and it was hard. And I found this group called Life Art, and it was started by this guy, Phil Ortega, and he totally took me in like a family member, and all these kids that were there, because it's mostly for people under 20. Man, they were some of the brightest and like most intelligent kids I've ever met.
No doubt.
I think it's really important that we foster things like that in our community. Like, my personal life has been pretty busy lately, and I haven't been able to be there as much as I'd like to, but, like, I would really like to fucking see more of that. Because if it hadn't been for them, like, I don't know where I'd be right now. Like, you know, I miss my sister all the time, and it's fucking hard. But knowing that there's other people who have been through that shit and who care about me and who care about the art that I'm doing, like, that has made such a world of difference for me personally. And, you know, I was teaching some graffiti classes there, right? And this older group of people, like in their 70s or 80s, they did a calligraphy class, and they wanted to come to Life Art to, like, check out the spray paint and see what we were doing.
Nice.
And this one lady, she was like, but isn't graffiti, like, gang stuff? And it caught me off guard, because I was just like, damn, you're at a graffiti class, Grandma. Hold on. And, like, I had to talk to her and was like, you know, the two aren't mutually exclusive. They're not the same thing.
Right.
You know, graffiti might be a part of gang culture, but gang culture isn't necessarily a part of graffiti.
Right.
And if it is,
exactly.
like, you don't know the history of gangs and how that all got started, and like why people are in those kinds of organizations. Like,
exactly.
she had to get educated.
That's pretty funny. I wonder what she was expecting to go, like, if she was just gonna walk into like a fucking group of Crips or something.
I think that's what she thought was going to happen. Like, she genuinely looked nervous until she saw me walk up there with the cans, and then she was kind of like, oh.
Well, that's
maybe I can ask a question.
That's tight. That's tight. I think
so I think I helped her understand a little bit that day, and that was
right. I think it's amazing how how far art reaches. You know, when I did like live paintings and stuff, I would do obviously graffiti style. And you'd have every age of person stop and look and wonder and take pictures, and that was always that's definitely a highlight of my art, you know, processes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, reaching out to the older generation mainly, you know, who are most curious and have most.
Because they've got so many biases from living life for so long, and it doesn't mean they're completely out of place. I mean, they have experiences that I've never experienced, and hopefully we'll get to someday. But you know, it's important that, like I was saying before, you don't close yourself off. And I've seen a lot of older people who close themselves off to what's young, and I mean, this is not the first generation that's experienced that. I mean, it goes way back. But the more that we get these kind of cross-generation meetups going on, centered around art or around community, like, hopefully we can kind of bridge those divides and learn something from each other. Because that's the other thing too, is I think that, like, young people, you can, as an older person, you can learn things from young people all the time. It's not just the other way around.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
That was one of the most enjoyable things about working with Life Art for, you know, like, I think it's been like 4 or 5 years now, and is learning things from these 12, 11-year-old kids that, you know, if I move through my adult life too much, I kind of forget that they have wisdom too.
It's tight.
So
that's tight.
I don't know. I wanna see more of that shit in our community. Absolutely.
Nice. Cool. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's a good one because you definitely raised awareness on a very tough subject. So I'm glad you mentioned that. All right, that's pretty much everything. The last thing is, how can people follow you?
I am at Rask_23 on Instagram, and that's where I post most of my art. I would say I used to have an art Facebook, but I don't keep that up to date. I am Rachel Hall on Facebook, but I would just prefer to communicate through Instagram since that's easier, and that's how you can see most of my visual art. And so, and I have a Tumblr too, but that's on my Instagram page, so you'll find the link for that there if you find me on Instagram.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Rask_23.
Yeah, the number 23, not spelled out. So.
I think I've seen it before. So no, I'm just gonna add I'm gonna add that to the description. So there's a sticker. I drew your name. It says Rask23. Oh, but now looking at it, I realize it's in mirror image mode on my phone. So. All right. Well, cool. Thank you very much for doing this interview. Really, really great talking to you. You're an amazing artist, and hopefully a bunch of people will start following you and hitting you up for some product. That is the goal.
Yeah, I need to sell some canvases and I want to do some collabs too with people. So if you make art, don't be afraid to swap some stickers or whatever. We can get down.
I'm gonna have to give you my sticker connect.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about that.
Do it.
All right. Thanks again, Rachel.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
Until